Peak performance sales. What is peak performance sales? Of all the forms of communication that go on in your company, sales is the one with the greatest impact. You know, most people assume that peak performance sales simply means maximum sales. Well, peak performance sales can sometimes equal maximum sales, but there's a lot more to it. Peak performance sales occurs when your customers are all buying precisely what they need from your company. No more, no less, for life. That level of selling, neither more nor less than the customer needs, creates the strongest, longest lasting, most valuable customer relationships. And more importantly, it also creates the fewest cancellations and returns. But, well, that's another story. For peak performance sales to occur, your salespeople need to do more than sell to your customers. They need to communicate with them at an optimum level. They need to understand customers' needs as well as the customers do themselves, maybe even better. Consider this. At Communispond, we've been training sales professionals for decades, and we survey our trainees from time to time, and we always ask them what they consider to be their greatest deficiency. And by a wide margin, they report they talk too much. And you know, it's no coincidence that surveys of customers about salespeople report the very same thing. Nowadays, the proverbial hard-charging sales professional, the one who talks fast and keeps the customer off balance with his clever patter, well, he's incapable of achieving peak performance sales. And why? Because those fast-talking salespeople don't listen to their customers. And when you don't listen, you have no way of learning the customer's needs. If your product or service meets those needs, it's basically by accident. Can you trust your company's principal source of revenue to accident? I don't think so. How do you recognize a peak performance salesperson? Well, first of all, she makes a lot more sales. But the way she does it is interesting. Most of her sales come from long-term accounts. She has a lot of repeat business. Second, when he talks to you about sales, it's clear that he thinks more about the customer's needs than any other aspect of his work, including the revenue he brings in. Third, she understands that customers buy illumination rather than light bulbs. She spends her time and effort solving customers' problems, not acting like an answer looking for a question. Fourth, he understands that customers have needs they don't always see. He spends some part of nearly every sales call encouraging the customer to imagine the future and how they're going to get there. Fifth, she spends more than half of her time during a sales call actively listening. You see, sales is a form of communication, and communication works two ways, sending and receiving. Most salespeople concentrate on sending, usually the description of the benefits provided by a product or service. But if you ask what they're receiving, you'll discover it's very little. Simply put, they're too busy talking. You know, three very interesting things happen when you listen to customers. First, you get information about their needs you wouldn't have otherwise, information that leads to more sales. The second thing is that you stand out in the customer's mind. They see an endless parade of salespeople, almost none of whom ever really listen, but you're the one who does. And it's such distinctive behavior that makes the customer remember you better. The third thing that happens is that the customer becomes, better disposed toward you. People like the feeling that what they say is important enough to be listened to. In other words, you connect with the customer on a very human level. That's why Communispond's flagship sales program, Socratic Selling Skills, emphasizes listening, and why it teaches powerful techniques for probing customers' needs. At Communispond, we believe the primary sales challenge is a listening challenge. We help you learn to draw customers out and to listen to what they're saying. We're just another way of saying we help you close more reliably. But in our peak performance sales programs, you can find help for every aspect of sales. From giving sales presentations to large and small groups, to writing sales proposals, to planning and undertaking sales calls, as well as negotiating the terms of the sale. From private coaching to group sessions to public seminars, we've been helping professionals achieve peak performance sales for decades. We can help you too. Call us at 1-800-529-5925 or take a second right now and visit our website at www.communispond.com. Find out what peak performance sales feels like. You'll see it in your bottom line. Thank you.